And here I am again. I had so much preparation today, I probably get completely mixed up. But that's okay, right? That's okay. It's definitely okay, right? Definitely okay. Let's put this one up because it makes more sense. Okay, so let's make sure it's running. Dashboard. I think it's running now. We had a little trouble yesterday, and I don't know what. Stream just started breaking up, and that was it. I don't know what happened. So hopefully that won't stop. I pushed them back together as best I could. There was a kind of a pause in the middle of it, but I think hopefully it'll keep going. And okay, there we go. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Okay, I got a little bit of a follow-up here on, oh, good. You take these things for granted and you think that they're going to work, but they don't. There we go. Let's start again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Nothing but serious news today, and off we go. Okay, a follow-up story. A really good story. It turns out that the Jeep commercial was the first commercial that Bill Murray's ever done. At least that's what it said. And the last, he said. And it started about a year earlier where somebody figured out that this Super Bowl was on Groundhog Day, which I kind of lost sight of because we don't pay a lot of attention to that in Wisconsin. We get more winter or we don't. It doesn't seem to correlate very well, although it would be interesting to find out. But as the news pointed out, at our house it was bright sun, so that means 6 more weeks. But in Kenosha it was cloudy, so that means any minute the winter could end. I think it only works in Pennsylvania, where the official Poxitawney Phil is. Anyway, so one of the guys at Jeep and the guys at the agency at a little agency said, "Bill, do you realize the Super Bowl is on Groundhog Day and we could do a reprise? And it hasn't been the case in 50 some years. It's not going to happen again. Who knows when it will? I mean, it could. I don't know. But anyway, the first Super Bowls were in January. I think that's part of why. But they sent him a handwritten note, talk about snail mail, and handed it to a friend who handed it to Bill, I guess. And for 3 months they heard nothing. That was last fall, and they got a call from Bill in like mid-January and said, "Let's do it. This sounds like fun." And so they did. And then they had no spot. They hadn't bought a spot from Fox, so somehow Fox pried him in there. I don't know quite how, but there's always room for a little more money. And so that's part of the story. That was, like I said, that was my kid's favorite, but mine was the Snickers, and Target Marketing has a feature on it I want to watch. But my argument with it was that this Jeep logo, the Jeep logo, was not prominent. Look, in the commercial, in the thumbnail, it's there, but it's not there.
Oh no! Oh no!
Quiet that down. It's going a long way, and maybe that draws you in because you've seen that before. But here they show a truck, and there they finally show it, but it doesn't say Jeep. There's Toyota Tundras and there's Chevy. There's all kinds. They should have put Jeep on there because you don't even know which. I mean, obviously it's a Jeep, but it doesn't track in my head. So that was my criticism of that. Anyway, let's move on. Right? Let's go over to the PDF. Okay, so we had that. Where did the PDFs even go? Here we go. Enough of that. And this was a really interesting article. I didn't expect it to be, because there's so many ad fraud articles. But this guy Tess, this girl, I guess, she sounds like she really knows her stuff. And I apologize, Tess. By 2025, WFA says it'll be over a $50 billion waste of ads annually by fraud. What they're mainly doing, and she points this out, is that they've been using cookies. A lot of fraud leverages the cookie, and so what happens is that the bots go to a high value site like ESPN or NPR or something, that's recognized that high income people, Wall Street Journal maybe, that high income people go to, Harvard Business Review. Anyway, and and then it's a cell phone sitting in a cell phone farm or in a bank of computers, and it picks up the cookie and then it browses around and then it browses to their site that they want to promote. And so the cookie sees that site and says, "Oh, that's a good site. That's got a lot of traffic." That's oversimplification, but let's say that. Okay. So, but what's happening is really interesting is third parties are going down. See, it says you can build a very attractive profile through cookies by collecting these valuable cookies from luxury car websites, for example, or browsing content that makes you attractive to particular advertisers. Then you go over to the site you want to puff. Okay? And the bots are there and there's engagement, and as we showed you, something like 60% of Procter and Gamble bots were fake. Their engagement was fake bots. But now what's happening is Europe is cracking down because of GDPR, right? So the fraud people are switching to less regulated markets. And this is an Australia news source. See, I do international news, which is really interesting. So now, as the third-party cookies contract, Tess says the cookie might be replaced with a similar kind of tracking technology, or the industry reduces its reliance on audience-related data and uses contextual and location-based data as a proxy. Right? Okay, so my ISP, my IP address, puts me at a suburb of Milwaukee. Actually, the one I'm using today, my business one, puts me as a suburb of Green Bay, Wisconsin, which is not as attractive. But with my phone and other things, we might be able to figure out that I'm a suburbanite. Also, we might be able to put ads on like ESPN for the Bucks, and because I watch the Bucks, and or the Tottenham Hotspurs, and only get people that root for those, or Brewers, Bucks, and Packers, and you get Wisconsinites. So it's possible to do this without bots, but it's without cookies, but it's getting harder, and now they're moving to what's called an ID fingerprint, and it's a combination of, say, your MAC address on your cell, your operating system, and your IP address, and those three things are not repeated ever, right? So they know I have an Android, they know I have what operating system level, so they know if I have a new one or an old one. This is the kind of thing they can use to target. Anyway, so Tess says if they go to that, if they go to the fingerprinting, bot herders and malware creators will leverage whatever that new piece of technology is that's used to identify individuals. See, if they fingerprint a phone and then the phone goes to the high leverage sites, the same problem will happen. Same fraud will happen. Very profound. Good job, Tess. So the answer really is to figure out better ways to advertise. And of course, mail is the key to that. Okay, now I'm gonna actually pause for a minute here. I'm gonna split this one in, and where I'm going is I had a great time. I had lunch with Ben Askren, and he was explaining yesterday, and he was explaining some things about crypto technology and about some alternatives to YouTube, and it was very enlightening. So long term for monetization, I want to put my best content someplace other than freebie stuff, because I'd love to do this long term, and I'd love to have your support on it. But right now, it doesn't do me any good, as far as I can tell whatsoever. Although I did get a message. You're welcome. I did get a message from someone on LinkedIn the other day, and they said one of my videos was sent to them, and they needed to get in touch with me. I don't know why. I did get a $140,000 client that way back a few years ago from one of my YouTube videos. So if people ask, does this ever pay off? Well, one $140,000 client that came directly as a result of one video, kind of, it kind of works out. If I could repeat that every couple of years, that would be great. Anyway, so now we're going to talk about customer-centric. I don't know what it's called. Customer-centric, customer experience, and how that translates to ROI, which is a very complicated technical thing. And I invited Solomon Lee to be on the show with me because he's just the best guy on customer experience that I've ever heard. So let's go to that. I'll put a pause here. I'll have you can stay on here. I'm not going anywhere. But I'm going to cut these in half so that on LinkedIn it's two separate ones, and because I don't have time to re-queue it up. So I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. And now we'd like to talk about customer experience. First, I want to just set the stage and talk about this article from Annette Franz from Customer Think. As usual, Customer Think does not compress well. It changes the author, and I wish they'd fix it, but they don't. So it's a lot of work, and so that's why I hate using articles from Customer Think. FYI. Okay. And Annette writes that customer-centric companies put the customer at the center of all they do. They ensure that they make no decisions without first thinking of the customer and the impact that decision has on the customer. Okay. Is that actually true? I don't know. And here's where the rubber meets the road on this kind of thing. Okay, so customers don't like out of stock, right? But chief financial officers like to maximize inventory turns, okay? Because you have to be profitable. And it's in the interest of most of your customers that you don't have excess inventory, because then you have to raise your prices, okay? Now, that may also mean you have fire sales often, which benefits the value-seeking customers. But then you go out of business, which ultimately disappoints your best customers. So if you never want to run out of inventory, you should have double your anticipated demand. Maybe. Short term. Near term, fire sales. Long term, out of business. It's not entirely clear which decision benefits the customer more. I hope you get the profundity of that. Okay, so the customer is infused in everything they do. No discussion, no decision, no designs without bringing the customer and her voice, without asking how it will impact the customer and how it will make her feel. Now, this is another good point, okay? This is a typical customer experience article, okay? What does the customer feel? Of course, if the customer calls, my wife was looking for a warmer winter jacket, and she called. She found one she liked, and I don't remember the vendors. And she found another one she liked, and they were out, and another one she liked, and they were out. She's very petite, and so it's hard to get in her size. I finally said, call Land's End. So she found one she liked there, and they were out. I said, you should have done this in September. I told you this was going to be a hot fall and a hot Christmas season. Anyway, she finally found one in Land's End, and she likes it. Okay, it's not exactly what she wanted, but she likes it a lot, and she looks great. And so how did she feel? Well, she felt like she didn't go soon enough. Was it the vendor's fault that she didn't order fast enough? I'm not sure. That's, again, how do you know? So so Annette, aren't you saying that we need to read minds? Because frankly, I don't know how she felt. She's my wife. Sometimes you feel like it's the vendor's fault, but mostly you don't. If they ship you the wrong item, then I feel, inconvenienced. But if they fix it, I just had some grill grates. They're beautiful. They're stainless steel, solid stainless steel. It's a Canadian company, great. And they did some special stuff for me, and they were supposed to ship me only one, and they shipped me three. Now I got to get rid of two of them. But they're so nice about it. I just bought a cell phone, and it wasn't really unlocked. It was a Verizon phone, and so it doesn't find any of the cell towers with the SIM card. But they're very good. They're shipping me another one. Okay, how does that make me feel? Does it make me feel better that they were out of stock, that they sent me an item that didn't work, or whatever? You don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel. It's mixed. And here she goes. Too often, companies believe they know what's best for the customer and design an experience based on inside-out thinking, only to end up with customer frustration and dissatisfaction. Why? Because they haven't really put the customer experience into the customer experience at all. So she's saying they got it right, they read their minds right, but they didn't implement well. Are you sure, Annette? Because I don't know my own mind. Now, another good point. Customer centricity can't be solved with technology. Okay, right, because technology can't read minds. AI can't read minds. You need to develop a culture. This could take years. This could be millions and millions of dollars woven into the fabric of the organization. And here she mentions a couple. Amazon, Zappos, Salesforce, Ritz-Carlton. They all mention the same ones. The usual suspects. A customer-centric culture is deliberately designed to be this way. Okay, and I have some Zappos shoes on right now. And you know what? They're garbage. I never wear them when I'm going to meet anybody or see anybody. They fell apart right off the bat. I called up Zappos because I'd had them a few months. They said, well, if you've worn them outside, you can't send them back. I said, these are garbage. You shouldn't be selling these things. Nothing we can do. Sorry. I hate Zappos. I'm never ordering again. Okay, Annette. Annette, I'll send you a connect invitation on LinkedIn. I hope you can come here and undo the damage and we can better understand your thinking. According to Deloitte, customer-centric businesses are 60% more profitable than their product-focused counterparts. That sounds compelling. When the business is customer-centric, customers feel it. And when you feel good, you are good. This is a fallacy of business management. If the employees are happy, they're productive. Yeah, okay. Sometimes, not always. There was that coffee shop that was going to pay everybody the same. Coffee shop chain. It went under right away. All the top management quit right off the bat. So there's all kinds of soft thinking here. Anyway, I can't read any more of this. It's too soft and mushy. So now let's get over to somebody who knows something. Okay? This is Solomon Lee from mycustomer.com. I think that's his site. Okay. Why a major customer experience misconception is causing customer experience job cuts. If you're a customer service manager or CXO, this is why you're getting fired. It's because you're reading articles like Annette's. This is a big deal. This is major stupid, where people are spending millions of dollars trying to read minds and then trying to force their employees to anticipate unknown needs based on some customer journey map or algorithm. Solomon, great job here. In my opinion, there are three long-held beliefs in the customer experience world which adversely affect the dreams and careers of CX professionals. Customer obsession. We put the customer at the center of every decision we make. False. You can't. Because for one thing, I'm a different customer today than I was yesterday. If my check engine light goes on, maybe I'm in the market for a car today, which I wasn't yesterday. Don't know, I'm just saying, right? Maybe my mother-in-law is going to move in. All of a sudden, I'm looking for a new house. I'm different today than I was yesterday, and I will be different tomorrow. It's a moving parade, even for me in my own life. There's an epistemological problem with customer obsession because you don't know. Fundamentally, you don't know. See my Target Tuesdays, and we're talking about what we know for sure. And this isn't one. I agree, Solomon, wholeheartedly. Customer experience transformation is needed to become a customer-centric company. Is that true? Great job. Oh, I can't wait to get into this. Improving customer experience will drive business results. And that's what Annette said, according to Deloitte. Although there wasn't one, at least that I saw, there wasn't one real case study. It's like AI. Go find me one case study where they made more money. You can find them if you listen to me, but you're not going to find them in the trades. All they say is that if you don't do AI, you're going to go out of business. And if you don't do marketing people are such liars. Anyway. Okay, personally, I appreciate the noble idea of customer centricity, obsessed with customer value. This is Solomon. And I admire the passion and tireless efforts of CX professionals trying to transform their organizations to be customer focused. Yet most CX experts, are you still with me, Keith? Most CX experts interpret customer obsession as obsessed with customer interactions, and it's not right. Customer obsession is misinterpreted. Have you wondered why both Southwest Air and Ryanair create value for their customers in a low price, but only the former is labeled a customer-centered company? It's because Southwest serves customers well and Ryanair doesn't. You know, I've been on Spirit. I flew to Dallas for $35.50 one way to pick up a car. I couldn't believe it. I thought they were tricking me. I thought, oh, well, I'll show up, see if they got me on the plane. They did. And the plane took off and flew just like any other plane I've ever been on. I am excited about Spirit Air. Now, don't take any luggage. I didn't. I had a little backpack. I didn't stay over. I just picked up the car and drove home. 24 hours round trip. It's great. But if you know what you're doing, I've flown them a few times, and they did trick me. My daughter flew to Brazil, I think, or Peru or someplace. She was on like 8 different flights, and she picked her seat on all the flights. Ended up adding like $250 or $300, just that. They wouldn't give her a bottle of water for free. I bought mine for $3. Since I only spent $36 on the flight, I could spend $3 on the water bottle. I could have brought a water bottle. I didn't know that. You bring an empty one through the TSA, and then you fill it. At O'Hare, there's water fountains that have a spout. You just right down in. Now I know. Now I can save $3 more. It's a game. But if you've read books, articles, blog posts by customer-centric and written by experts, Zappos, Ritz-Carlton, Virgin Atlantic are identified as customer-focused. Okay? But companies mostly can't be customer-centric unless they serve customers well. Not true, he says. Good customer interactions are merely one of many values, like inventory turns and staying in business. So CX professionals have an impossible mission. CX transformation is needed to become a customer-centric. Didn't she just say that? Yeah, she did. She said they don't do it very well. But CX transformations are massive, take years, cost millions. This is a dilemma. Amen, Solomon. Only large firms can afford to undertake this CX transformation, but converting the mindsets and behaviors of people as well as the entire value chain of a sophisticated organization is insane. Insanely hard. Okay? What's more, here's my point, customers have different needs, and the same customer has different needs on different days. Wants inexpensive prices, prestige, feeling great, great products, or just good service. Maybe. It makes no sense to undertake a CX transformation with enormous manpower, time, financial costs if your competition strategy isn't service focused. Anyway, so CX transformation is unaffordable, undesirable to majority of enterprises. Transforming their own organizations to become customer centric is literally an unachievable target and not sensible for most CX practitioners. This is heavy stuff. This is one of the most heavy, fact-filled, hard-hitting articles I have ever read. Okay, so then he has I don't know if it's a case study or if it's a hypothetical, but he said, let's imagine Susan's Cookies communicates to customers' value. And their value is, we're going to sell good cookies, handmade, fresh, baked goods. And it does that. Okay? Just do what you say, for heaven's sakes. Okay? Which makes Susan's Cookies a customer-centric business, even though they aren't obsessed with customer interactions. And they didn't undergo a transformation. They made good cookies. I don't care if Spirit Air kissed my hand. The plane took off, got me to Dallas for $36 from Chicago. That is the cheapest flight I've ever had, including puddle jumpers. Can you imagine? I can't even imagine that. That is unbelievable. My goodness. Anyway, so you don't have to be obsessed with customer interactions. Whatever your focus, service, price, product, can be customer driven as long as you honor your business promises. My goodness. And CEOs don't support CX because it doesn't result in business impact. Now, that said, I wanted to just mention one of my friends, John Worth, at Woodworker Supply of New Mexico, which later just got named Woodworker Supply. We talked a lot about testing, and we talked a lot about direct marketing and customer service and all that. He actually went to the trouble of putting a thank you note in every box they shipped. Now, that's what normal companies would do, but direct marketers think differently. He put it in most of the boxes, some of the boxes, but he kept track of who got one and who didn't. And you say, that's too hard? No, it's not that hard. You can do it by the third digit of the zip code or some other pretty random process, so that when they reorder, you can just see if it's a third, if it's an even number in the third digit, then they got a thank you, and if it's an odd number, then they didn't. Let's just say. And so forever and ever, you just run that for 6 months, and forever and ever, you can go back to the next 6 months and see the impact of a thank you note in the box. Yeah, see. And if you're not a direct marketer, you miss this stuff. You always do. And I'm sorry to go so long today. We're going to break this in half. Okay. But CX can drive business results, but you got to be really good to figure it out. Right? It's hard to do it at the cookie counter. Okay, so customers' decisions for repeat purchases are mainly decided by how capable a brand is at helping them achieve their desired goals, which change, rather than how good the brand makes them feel. This is like some of the most profound stuff I've ever read, and the most honest. Right? You can make, there's two garages in town. One garage fixes my car. They fix what's wrong with it. Okay? I took it in 2 days ago. There was a broken wire. It may have been broken when they worked on another issue. They fixed the wire, and they told me no charge. Okay? It's kind of dumpy, but they fix my cars. There's one across the railroad tracks, on the other side of the tracks, that has a beautiful lobby free coffee, all candy dish. And when you come in, they smile and they treat you so well. And yes sir, no sir, just you know what? And when you bring in a car with a broken wire, you get a bill for about $1,200. Well, we inspected the shocks and we think the shocks needed a little work and this and that. And that's okay, except when you pay a couple of grand for, for a Lexus. And you go to the Lexus dealer if you want to feel great about being a Lexus owner. They will treat you great and pay through the nose. I just want the car to be safe, reliable, running. Okay, so how I feel as I come in the door and how I want the car to work. And I don't want them to fix stuff just so they can boost the bill, which I suspected for years in that other place. I used to go there. I suspected for years that they would fix things that weren't fixed. I could, a lot of car stories, but do you understand what I'm saying? Oh, now you have the assurance that you're driving on safe tires. Hey, I thought they were safe before, but you just replaced them all just for fun. Anyway, and here's a great point too. McDonald's customers return because they. Oops, I gotta switch to my underliney thing. McDonald's customers return because McDonald's are fast, clean, and inexpensive. IKEA, Louis Vuitton Hamburg for prestige and image. IKEA furniture due to its good value for the money. These brands don't serve customers well, yet customers keep coming back. That's what you got to figure out. What keeps customers coming back? And what's the most interesting part is the way we do AI and machine learning, we focus on what characteristics of last year's customers brought them back. That's pretty much our number one look. And it isn't even that. It's really which customers from last year didn't come back, because it's way easier to rule out than it is to rule in. Almost no one can predict who their best customers are going to be. But we can rule out people that, in Cabela's, we found that women who bought camouflage gear in extreme upper income neighborhoods like Manhattan never came back. Why? Probably because, and this is just a hypothesis, it was for a Halloween party or something. It's in the same period as hunting season, but it's a totally different reason. So we quit mailing those people. But upper income men who bought hunting gear, not necessarily camo, were the best. And this is long ago, so don't worry that I'm sharing confidential information. It could all be changed by now. Okay. Forrester predicted, this was a recent article, that 25% of CX professionals will be fired this year since they aren't producing business impact. Put that in your pipe against the Deloitte ad. It's easy to lose your jobs being obsessed with customer interactions. Focus on customers getting their goal, customer success, and better yet, rule out the failure. Then product or price or product focused brands like McDonald's and IKEA and Louis Vuitton won't be excluded. Never mind, Louis Vuitton, 100 new stores are opening. Dollar store, 1,000 new stores this year. Go into a dollar store and see how you feel. Solomon, this is one of the great articles ever. Be obsessed with customer success, not with customer feelings, not with mind reading. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Like and share, your friends will think you're smart. Bye-bye.